used me for a vacation. I paid for it. She kissed my boyfriend, tried to get me to cheat on my boyfriend, then called him behind my back when I ended the friendship to explain her side. Let's get into it. Okay, so my ex best friend, 24 female, let's call her Alice, and I, 26 female, met in college and instantly clicked. At the time, I didn't have many friends because I had distanced myself from my high school group after some bad experiences, like my best friend sleeping with my boyfriend. I wanted a fresh start, and Alice quickly became my closest friend. Alice already had a friend group, but she often complained to me that they weren't thoughtful and that she had to put up all the effort into maintaining those relationships. And she also had a rough home life and issues with her dad abandoning her. Because of this, I went out of my way to be an above and beyond friend. I paid for her food and drinks almost every time we went out, gave her expensive gifts, included her in my family's events, even paid her $50 to cut my hair for 2 minutes because I knew money was tight. At one point, I even brought her with me on a Hawaii vacation that my boyfriend, 29 male, fully funded. My boyfriend and I are generous by nature. And since she was always talking about being broke, I didn't mind paying. I also knew that she worked hard as a hairstylist and a nail tech and was often in pain from crouching over clients all day. So for Valentine's Day one year, I even surprised her with flowers, chocolates, and a card from both me and my boyfriend because she hated the holiday and I thought it was due to her never having someone make her feel special on that day. Over time, my boyfriend became part of our friendship too. He always paid for her when we went out, and she would gush about how sweet he would be, saying things like, "Of course, OP and I love you," because he felt bad for her because she was always giving us the victim narrative of everything wrong in her life. I think she started confusing his generosity with romantic interest. She had just broken up with her high school sweetheart of 5 years and was clearly struggling with being single. One night, the three of us went out drinking together. She got plastered, and I noticed her dancing a little too closely with my man. Later, when he was helping her inside because she couldn't walk straight, I hung back and I saw her kiss him. He immediately jerked away, said, "Okay, time for bed," and walked off. I stayed quiet to see if either of them would tell me. My boyfriend came up right after and told me exactly what happened. And I told him I already saw it and I wasn't mad at him. The next morning, Alice was full of guilt. I laughed it off at the time, even though it hurt, because she was my only close friend and I didn't want to lose her over it. Problem number one, your friends do not put their lips on your man. That is not friendship. And if, without my permission, somebody tried to do that to my man, they'd be lucky to still have those lips attached to them. After that, things went back to normal. But I started noticing mean jabs from her. For example, when I went to a board game night to try and make new friends, she mocked me by saying, "You actually went to that?" She had a big friend circle, but I've always been shy, so that stung. A few months later was my birthday. My boyfriend wanted to treat me to a trip to Hawaii and said I could bring a friend since he couldn't get the time off work. I was hesitant about inviting Alice after everything, but I didn't really have anyone else to choose that I was close with. And we still had fun times together, so I invited her. Oh boy, this is probably gonna turn out shitty. My boyfriend paid for everything: flights, hotel, adventure passes. Since he had always covered our food in the past, I felt it was only fair for Alice to at least pay for her own meals on this free trip. I told her this, and she said she couldn't afford food for 5 days in Hawaii. I suggested we keep it cheap with groceries and a budget. But then, in front of my boyfriend, she complained about not being able to pay. And as I feared, he immediately jumped in and said to just put it on his card. That really irritated me because I knew she was intentionally putting him in that position, knowing that he would cover for her again. Yeah, she sounds like somebody that's just a user, not necessarily a friend. Also, for context, my boyfriend doesn't come from money. He had an abusive childhood, moved out at 18, and worked extremely hard to build the career he has now. Every bit of what he's earned is his own. And he even sends money to his mom to help her out. So when Alice tried to guilt him into paying for her food, I was already irritated. But I decided not to start a fight right before the trip or laid plans. At the airport, she was already being snappy with me. She carried my purse while I handled the boarding passes and logistics, then complained that I had too much luggage. In Hawaii, things started off okay, but by the second day, she began making passive aggressive comments. For example, she came out of the bathroom and said, "Your shorts are on the floor. I didn't know if you knew or not." Then added that messy rooms made her anxious. I immediately tidied up. It took less than 3 minutes. Still, it stung because this was my birthday trip, free for her, and she's nitpicking. Later in the trip, she was the one leaving her stuff everywhere, which, hello, ironic. One night, she asked to borrow an expensive orange top of mine. At the bar, she disappeared for like 30 minutes. When I finally found her, she was wearing a random man's t shirt and my top was gone. She claimed she had been in the bathroom with a gay guy she met and they traded shirts. And at the time, she thought it was hilarious. But the story didn't add up. I wear a size small, and it didn't seem believable that a man would fit into my top. I think when I was calling over and over after her disappearing, she frantically grabbed his shirt and rushed out, leaving my shirt behind. My gut still tells me she hooked up with somebody and just didn't want to admit it. Throughout the trip, she kept posting photos of us where she'd crop me out or choose unflattering shots on purpose. When I asked her to take a nice picture of me, since I was dressed up, she got annoyed and said we should just enjoy the trip. She also kept pressuring me to talk to guys with her. At one point, she met a man at the pool and said she wanted us to go with him and his friend that night. I told her no, absolutely not. That would basically be a double date, and I wasn't going to disrespect my relationship. She brushed it off, saying, "No one will know." I was horrified. Looking back, I honestly think she wanted to set me up to cheat so she could run back and tell my boyfriend, since I kind of suspected she liked him and knows he treats myself and his past relationships really well. That's exactly what she's trying to do. I wish you would have recognized this before that trip because, shoot, I think you could have had more fun if you had just been there on your own, to be quite honest. Let's get back.